We know there are 11 afternoon games. We're going to get the highlights in a second. But this is a topic everyone's talking about right now. We've got Judge Jake in the middle.
We've got to slide in a little closer.
And we've got an upset attorney in Harold Reynolds, a guy that knows he's about to win the case on the right side, Greg Amsinger. So what we're going to do is we're going to advance this story. We're going to give suggestions to Major League Baseball as to how to really protect batters at the plate, limit all these pitches that are going above the shoulders, hitting guys like Pete Alonso in the head. Now, before we give suggestions, Harold, in case there are people living under a rock, let's revisit what caused all the chaos for the New York Mets.
Well, I'm going to take it even further under the rock to spring training. And the Mets are upset because they've been hit above the shoulder in the head 13 times if you go back to spring training. All right, you don't believe me? 13 times in spring. Now, oh, it's spring training. Yeah, there's one, there's two, there's three, there's four. Are you going to be upset? There's five.
Now, this is shoulders and up.
Shoulder up. There's six. Let's go over here. There's seven.
I hate watching that.
Let's go back over here again. There's eight. There's nine. There's 10. A little lower, but still. There's 11. There's 12.
Oh.
Ouch. And then we'll go back to this one for 13. Shoulder, head up. Look, here's my rule. Here's my suggestion. That every hit by pitch with a non-breaking ball near the head is reviewed by the New York office and is punishable by ejection and suspension. So what you see in football, you get a targeting call. Let's go check this. Yes, that player is ejected. And I look at it this way. A fastball, slider, anything hard in, you're up in the head area, you're gone. Immediate ejection. Because I think we're sitting here parceling it out like, well, there was no warning. Well, there was no umpire didn't say this or that. Take it out of the hands. We're playing a sport where the ball can end somebody's career in your head. And I just think that that's going to stop the severity of it. The problem for me, we can talk about the ball, we can dive into all these things. It is pitchers not being able to locate. And I believe, as a hitter who stood in here for some 10,000 ABs, you can't control the ball. You shouldn't be in the big leagues.
Whoa. But the people that are making that determination want them in the big leagues. We're blaming the wrong people. It's not the pitchers. The pitchers have been told it's all about velocity and spin rate and perceived velocity. The front office, those are the people to blame for what we see on the mound. It's not the pitchers. So I have a suggestion.
Go ahead.
Let's make the guys in the front office change the way they view pitchers. Remember this? This ended a game. This was not because of Mitch Garver. Because of the slide rule, that was a double play. The game is over. That was an errant throw. The game should have continued. But we're protecting players now. We're protecting catchers. We do not want them to get bowled over. So when you block this lane, that throw beat him. He's out. But because he didn't give him a lane, we're protecting catchers. You're out. We're changing the scoreboard.
Give him a run.
To protect players. So my suggestion to help this, what I think is a major issue, every hit by pitch near the head results in a run for the hit batsman's team. And it's an earned run against pitchers. So their ERA will be affected. So it's an automatic run. If the bases are loaded and a guy gets hit by a pitch, his at-bat's over. That's a run. The base runners stay there. I think suspending players it's whitewash. It's eyewash. It's not going to do any good. Why? The front offices are just going to pay it. They'll pay it anyway. The guys that are hitting these players aren't Jake Peavy's of the world. It's not the top starting pitchers who can command a fastball. It are obscure relievers who are trying to impress front offices with velo and spin rate and RPMs. So what happens? You suspend one of those relievers. The Tampa Bay Rays call up one of their 43 relievers and replaces him. They don't care. Not a big deal. So I don't think suspension is putting onus on the people that are actually causing this. The front office, they get paid for winning and losing games. If you change the scoreboard because of this, now it affects them.
I like that, but it's out there, given a run.
But we're already doing that at second base and at home plate.
Yeah.
We're giving outs and runs.
Look, I think you got a great point on giving the runs is going to be a hard thing for me.
Yeah.
It really is, Greg. I can't imagine me, because intent is everything for me. And if you go look at how many times, the 19 times,
you need to stand
I
right
don't
here
believe that any of them are intentional. I don't believe that not one of the Mets, that the pitcher stood there before and said, I'm hitting these guys.
But we can't find proof of intent.
Of course.
You don't need to.
And I agree with that.
In my deal. But go ahead.
No, you can't. Because
floor.
you know, in baseball, this has mostly been policed by the New York Mets have high aspirations of making the playoffs. It's going to take one of these hitting one of these players in the wrong spot, and a Lindor is gone for 2 months. And what does that do? That completely drastically changes what the New York Mets' future. So it's kind of been an eye for an eye. And like you said, command is everything, and we've got to have pitchers with better command if they're going to pitch in. I think an immediate ejection gets that done.
You got guys like Pedro Martinez. I mean, you look at some of the best ever, but they can command the fastball.
Well, when you start talking about the best ever, and when you start talking about young pitchers, command is everything. And guys are so caught up in throwing hard and spin rate, but you look at guys who are the best, they also command the baseball. So if you're listening right now and you are a pitcher, command over velocity, command over spin rate. I don't care if you can spin it the best in the world. If you can't command it, it's going to be an issue. And my last point would be, there's so many young pitchers coming up to the major leagues. This has certainly gotten out of hand and needs to be addressed. Immediate ejection, I'm with you, Harold. Suspension and a starter can't start in his normal slot, that affects the team enough. Putting runs on the scoreboard, it's going to be hard for me, Greg.
All right, so hold on one second. I got something for Jake, though, because and we'll come back to answering this, but command is so important. You were a guy, threw hard, won Cy Youngs. How did you do it? What did you have to do to learn to command your pitches? Did they hold you down and say you're not moving another level until you can throw a certain pitch? What was it?
Well, that's it. Fastball command is everything. I tell these young pitchers there's going to be times where it's 2-0, 3-1s, and you got Harold Reynolds in the box. And if he knows fastball's coming, he's putting a good swing on it. It's got to be located. So to me, 60 feet 6 inches. If you are a pitcher, see how often you can throw 60 feet 6 inches. When you play catch, use a Trevor Hoffman approach. Don't throw a ball without a purpose. Play the game where I'm locating shoulder to shoulder.
Yep.
It's a craft. When I see these young kids coming out of high school, he's throwing 97 with a good breaking ball, and I say, you can pitch in the big leagues right now. Right now, you have everything it takes to be a major league starter as far as stuff. Now it just comes down to honing in on your craft and being able to throw that ball right here.
And that's
right
great.
Here.
I'm glad you're talking to pitchers, but I still believe the pitchers aren't the problem.
Well,
the guys that are promoting the pitchers are the problem.
I agree with that.
They're the problem. So this is my analogy. Why is it important in a one-run game in the ninth inning to get to third base when Aroldis Chapman's at the plate? Why is that important?
Because he may throw a ball wild. And
because now he has to adjust his stuff. He's not going to throw his slider in the dirt. He's not going to throw his splitter or his split change in the dirt. He's keeping things up because he doesn't want a wild pitch to tie the game. If you've got what Dan Plesac likes to call a dead brain heaver, a guy that's in the big leagues because he throws 96 to 100 miles an hour with a slider that he doesn't know where it's going. If he's in the game, it's a one-run game, and you're JT Realmuto and you're behind the plate, and yes, the chart says you have to pitch Starling Marte inside to get him out. But it's a one-run game in the eighth inning. We've lost 3 in a row. This guy doesn't know where he can't command a fastball. You adjust now. Because if you hit him in the head, it's a tied game.
Yeah. No,
I think you have to think that way.
I like where you're going to put the onus on the front office, but I put the onus on the way we've allowed the front offices to evolve the sport. We've taken away the skill. That's right. Batting average matters. If you're hitting the ball, I don't care if you hit it 100 miles an hour, you're hitting it at people, you're out.
I know.
Figure out how to find a hole. Throwing and locating a pitch doesn't matter. Yes, it does. Those things matter. So we're taking the skill things that separate a guy from the big leagues to the minors, from a star to an average big leaguer. Being able to locate or execute the skill level that you have. And right now we're talking pitching. That's the key. As Jake talked about, I got to locate that fastball. So, yeah, we got to figure out a way to put the onus on the front offices. Maybe your crazy idea works, but at the end of the day, Jake has said it best. Automatic ejection, suspension, it's going to make you locate the ball. It's going to make it is. You can't let guys
just imagine game 1 of the World Series, Max Scherzer on a cold night lets loose of a fastball, hits a guy in the head. He's
well, Greg, here's the deal.
He's ejected.
Here's the deal, Greg. Max Scherzer is not the guy.
A cold night. It's a cold night.
I don't care.
Doesn't have grip.
He's pitching cold nights now.
He can't put the sticky
Look at
stuff
the
on
guys
his fingers anymore.
Has Max Scherzer hit guys in the head? No, those aren't the guys we're worried about.
Pedro Martinez hit a lot of guys in the head.
Not right now. We're not worried about those guys. That's not the problem.
Go back and look at a tent and some of those as well. But no, I think you guys are both onto something here. There is certainly something that needs to be done. I think a run is just too. I'm a pitcher. I'm an ERA guy. You're right. It would make me think. But a game can't be decided by that. Get the guy out of here.
The run means you're punishing the front office. A suspension, they'll bring in another dead brain here for the minor leagues.